Good morning, fellow travelers. How y'all doing? Okay, today is Sunday. I shake my coffee. Today is Sunday. Beans from Kathy and Lee McKenna. Sunday, March 10th, 2024. And here we are in Pahrump. Now I gotta put in froth in, whip in the olive oil. Okay, we'll cut that out. Okay, cut. Next. So this is Sunday, the 10th of March, 2024. Here we are in Pahrump. This is Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help you get from where you are to someplace better. From Someday Isle to Successlandia, crossing the river denial. Because whether you consider yourself to be atoms in the void, or this is just the first stop or another stop on life's journey, you might as well do the best you can. Accept your fate, accept your karma, etc. But we're here to help you become successful. And our definition of success is money times meaning and purpose. The most important thing is meaning and purpose. Meaning is act such that everything you do matters. Purpose is service to others. If you don't have a lot of money, you can't, but you're 100% committed to meaning and purpose, but you don't have a lot of money, that's good for you, but you can't really affect it across other people. On the other hand, if you have a lot of money, but no meaning and purpose, typically what happens is you kill yourself. A lot of entertainers, right? Anthony Bourdain would be an example of somebody who said, there's no meaning in my life, there's no purpose to keep on living, so I might as well end it. He just didn't quite get it. He was focused on the wrong thing. He thought that it was about the here and now. So no matter what he would get, he knew, well, in a short period of time, having lunch with the Clintons, great girlfriend, restaurant awards, great TV show, I already know it's not going to make me happy. I'm not going to be, the pleasure I'm seeking is not going to be found in that, so what's the point? Okay, not good. All righty then. So it's back to, if you knew you were going to have 1,000,000 years of extreme beyond bliss, would 100 years of torture be worth it? If that was the price you had to pay, would it be worth it? And it should take about 6.68 seconds to say, yeah, it would be worth it. All right, anyway, so we're here to help you on that journey. We're here to help you learn tools. What are the tools you need and how to use the tools? Some people talk about this fishing analogy. If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him to fish, you feed him for life. But one of our key guys, Mark Rowland, said, well, we really kind of need to take that to a couple other levels. Why don't we also teach the guy where to fish? Because if you know how to fish, but you don't know where to fish, it's kind of like not knowing how to fish, right? Because you're not going to have any fish. And the other thing would be, well, if I know how to fish and I know where to fish, so I'm going to catch the fish, I need to know what to do with the fish. Because if I get these fish and I don't know how to skin them, I don't know how to cook them, I don't know how to sell them, I don't know how to salt them, I don't know how to do anything with them, I'm just in it for the sport, it's not really going to help me, right? End up at the end of the day with a bunch of smelly dead fish. Or I throw them back because nobody told me I'm supposed to eat the fish. They just told me how to catch the fish and where to catch the fish. So we need to go down to those levels, and that's our purpose through the week. And we have a 4-part, do it the German way, a 4-part transformational program. We focused on physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Weekends is G.school. We just focus on the spiritual. Notes down below, please. Subscribe, click on the bell, thumbs up, share, you know the thing. Okay, so with that intro, I gotta shorten that down. I'm gonna say, maybe next time I'll start by saying, okay, see below. See below. And so Whatabebby, how are you doing on this first day of daylight savings time day? Good coffee. Blessed. Blessed, not blessed, blessed. Smile. Okay. Blessed. Is that with a capital S, second S? All right. So here we are. I got some comments yesterday from the Jesuit regarding ZIPOM. ZIPOM. I'll try to add that in. Yesterday was Sophie's birthday. Third line. And go to the worksheet, go to the prayer. Oh no, not a day for the battery to die. Not a day for the battery to die, but quick thinking on the part of Bekalaqua. Know exactly where the spare batteries are. Pop one in. Aha, it works. Okay, so we'll see if that's what he meant. All righty then. Okay, sorry for taking up so much time, people. Time, such a runic rhyme. 7 minutes in, 6:11, got about 4 minutes. Okay, so the theme of yesterday was known knowns. What are the things we know? We know we're going to die. We absolutely know we're going to die, and we know that when we die, either something is going to happen or nothing's going to happen. Afterlife, we know that afterlife, something's going to happen or nothing's going to happen. The known unknown is what happens after we die. Now, a lot of people have a lot of beliefs of what happens after we die. All the Buddhists have beliefs, the Hindus have beliefs, the Muslim has beliefs, the Christians have beliefs, and there's different beliefs within the Christians. More than half of the Christians, i.e. Catholics, believe unless you're a saint, you're going for purification. You're not going to heaven. The other almost half of the people who are Christians believe some version of you're immediately going somewhere else. Heaven. And I think if you're LDS, you're going to one of the places, the celestial, terrestrial, or something kingdom. But the fact is we don't know. We don't know. It's a known unknown. We know that we don't know. We have beliefs. However, it's starting to appear though, NYU Parnia, Dr. Parnia's lab and the movie that they have out, linked down below, is that it appears that something does happen after we die. Why? Because they have stories of people who have been dead. They've been brought back to life. It's not a near-death experience. They're clinically dead. They've been brought back to life. They had no brain activity while they were dead, but they come back with information of what happened when they had no brain activity. And it's not really possible to do that. If you don't have any brain activity, you can't be generating any memories, any sight, sound, smells. There's no activity in your brain. And this is becoming pretty well documented. And it's because the old belief was that neurons died quickly upon death. But now it appears they don't. They can last hours. It's not the shutting off of blood. It's the recirculation of blood that causes the brain damage. So a lot of stuff happening there. So it looks like this known unknown looks like, well, it looks like after we die, something does happen, which kind of diminishes the atoms in the void, which means, if you believe we're just atoms in the void, you can behave however you want. But if we're not atoms in the void, and if something does happen, then you might want to consider, you might want to think about, if the Hindus are right, and there's reincarnation, and you get to move forward if you're good, you move back if you're bad, it would make sense to act such that you want to move forward because there's benefits to moving forward. Right? So a known unknown is what happens after we die. But it looks like something happens after we die. And the something isn't limited to people who are Christian. So for the people who interpret John 14:6 to mean you have to be a Christian, as opposed to you have to be the way and the truth and the life to get to heaven. If it's like, if you focus on you have to be like Jesus, okay, Jesus says, I am ABC. You have to be me. You have to be like me to get to here. But what maybe he meant, you have to ABC. And that's kind of what it seems, because if people from different religions report the same experiences of after death, that kind of excludes the interpretation that you can only be a Christian. Or as Deepak Chopra said, so let me get this right. If I don't believe exactly what you believe, I'm not going to go to heaven. That's kind of a tough one, right? Because the Protestant Christian side is very fragmented on what they believe. So for example, regarding the concept of salvation, are you forever saved just because you say, I believe Jesus is my Messiah and he died for my sins, and it can't be taken away? Or is it conditional? Universal salvation or not? Boom, that just whacks. Now there's a whole spectrum of Christians on that one. Some say, absolutely, if you believe Jesus was your Messiah at the age of 7, and you at the age of 14 you start living a horrible life, you're still saved. If you're in prison and you just say it right there, you're still saved. Other people say, no, you're not saved, because you have a duty to act like you believe that Jesus is your Messiah. Other people say, well, the problem is you didn't mean it when you said it. So it didn't, you were never saved. So always saved, never saved, saved, but kind of unsaved because you didn't act like it. So anyway, known unknown. The known unknowns is what happens after we die. We know that we don't know, but science is telling us it appears that something happens, and it doesn't only happen to people who are Christians. And the things that they say, and you don't even have to believe in God. So atheists say the same things, the same type of things. Well, they don't say, I saw heaven now. Well, some do, but not all. Okay, so that's it for today, people. And let's see what Wadabevi had to say while I was there. Jesus is a yogi. Yogi Berra? Yogi Bear? I would say I think that Jesus is who he said he was. And that yogis would be people like Mother Teresa and what we would call saints, Ignatius of Loyola. That what some people say is a yogi would be what Catholics call saints, is they are enlightened people. But Jesus said he was something else. So unlike a yogi who would say, no, I'm just a yogi, I'm a prophet, Jesus said, no, I and the Father are one. And I think that's the true thing. So, and C.S. Lewis would say, well, because he made those claims, he could only be one of three things. He could be a lunatic, he's crazy, he could be a liar, or he could be the Lord. If he was a lunatic, that means he believed what he said was true. He believed he was the Son of God. So he's saying all of these things, he believes he's the Son of God. A liar would be he says all these things, but he knows it's not true. And the problem comes with what happened after he died. Great TV show, Jesus the Game Changer, kind of brings this about, is if he was a lunatic or a liar, this thing would have fizzled after his death. If he wasn't resurrected, this would have fizzled after his death. But because of the resurrection, it didn't fizzle. And if you say, well, the resurrection was a hoax, well, again, it should have fizzled, because the people who became energized based upon the story that it was true, that he was resurrected, if he was not resurrected, they would have just gone back to doing something else, especially when the persecutions started. Because what is the point of getting persecuted for something you don't even believe? And if you're religious, if like Paul, if he was perpetuating something he believed to be a lie, he would know that he would be having eternal damnation. You know, Paul was a religious guy. He was a religious Jew. So for him to perpetrate a lie would not make any sense. So it appears that the people who were Jesus's disciples believed in the resurrection, and they had no reason to believe in it if it wasn't true. So that's just another little bit of evidence to help us with the known unknowns. But I happen to believe that Jesus is who he said he was, the Creator incarnate, that the Creator who up until the time of Jesus lived hyper-vicariously through its creations, going from being non-baryonic, just pure spirit. Well, in the Bible it's called spirit, but let's call it energy, pure energy, non-baryonic, to saying, let's see what it's like to be baryonic. And then poof, the universe comes into existence. And then as the universe is unfolding, the Creator is experiencing what it is like to be subatomic particles, atomic particles, elements, molecules, proteins, life. And that spreads out over billions of years. Then you have the Earth, and there's more complex life, multicellular creatures, and then this and that, and all throughout the creators, because the Bible says the Trinity, right? Or at least before the universe was the Son, was the Word, right? Okay, so, and then the creators are hyper-vicariously experiencing what it's like to be non-spirit. And then man, and then, okay, now, let's see what it's like to be man. So instead of hyper-vicariously experiencing it, how about if we directly experience what it's like to be a creation? And that also tends to explain the Shroud of Turin, this linen burial cloth that is at least 600 years old and maybe 2,000 years old, about 2,000 years old. But there's been a chain of custody and carbon dating, et cetera, has said, well, it's at least 600 years old. But it has an image on it that Father Spitzer will say, as a matter of science, I believe this is the image of Jesus. As a matter of faith, he doesn't say it, but as a matter of science, he says, yeah, I believe this is the burial cloth of Jesus. Why? Because there's evidence to show that it's 2,000 years old, but more than that, or maybe equally to that, we don't know how the image was put on there. We don't have the technology to recreate it. And they certainly didn't have that technology 600 years ago. And it looks like it was a, I don't know, a cold fusion something or other, where the body underneath it went to a just spontaneous nuclear something or other, like 500 million volts of light for a hundredth of a millionth of a second or something like that, which would be consistent with the resurrection story of the boom that was inside of the tomb and the rock getting rolled off and the body disappearing. Anyway, we'll end with that today. We'll end with that next week. We'll probably pick up with the so there's known knowns, known unknowns, there's unknown knowns, and then next Sunday we should have the unknown unknowns. So there's 4 parts to that. Thank you all for being there, being here today. Go out, make something happen as we do in yoga. Stretch up, heart center, boom. Oh, and then bump, bump, bump. Now, if Matt was here, he would do this. Right? Okay. Wada bebe. Avida Zane.